meeting to order here. This is the first meeting of the Mining and Forestry Policy Committee. Thank you everybody for joining us today. And since many of us are new, I'll just have the members do a quick brief introduction. And obviously those of you that are going to be testifying today will please introduce yourselves as you testify. We're going to have Aaron Vandelin from the School Trust up first. But if we just go through and just say who you are, what your district is, that would be probably good enough. I'm State Senator Justin Eichhorn. I'm fortunate enough to be the chair of this committee. It's an area I've been passionate about for a while and obviously very important to my district. So I'm excited about the discussions we'll be able to have in the next 2 years about mining and forestry and hopefully do some good things for our communities here. I'm going to hand it over to Senator Mike Goggin next, who's the vice chair of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, I'm Senator Mike Goggin. I represent Senate District 21, which is Goodhue County, Wabasha County, Winona County, and a little bit of Dodge County. And I look forward to being a part of this committee. I've never really dealt much with mining and forestry, but in my part of the state, but I'm anxious to learn all about it. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator Goggin. I have Senator Kunish next.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Senator Mary Kunish. New senator, but 4 years in the House. So there's a few of you I've worked with in the past. I represent District 41, which is Columbia Heights and St. Anthony, New Brighton, Fridley, Spring Lake Park, and Hilltop. The last 4 years I've sat on the school trust land, so I learned a lot about how we are using those resources to help our education for our kids and learned a lot more about our forestry and those sort of things. So very interested in and excited to be on this committee and look forward to learning and working with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got Senator Ruud next.
Well, good afternoon, Senator Carrie Ruud. I represent Senate District 10, which is all of Aiken and Crow Wing County, and I'm delighted to be on this new committee. And I have also been the former chair of the School Trust Commission when we were first starting out, before we even had Aaron Vandelin. And so it's pretty exciting to see where we've come. And I can't even believe how much we've accomplished in a short period of time. So I'm looking forward to being on this committee.
Thank you, Senator Ruud. I've got Senator Isaacson.
Thank you, Jason Isaacson. I'm the senator from Shoreview, Minnesota, which is the northern suburbs around 35E and 694. It's my first time on this type of a committee. I've been on the Environment Committee in the past when I was in the House, but I'm excited to learn a lot and help out where I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. And last but not least, as for members, I got Senator Tomassoni on here. Mr. Iron Man himself.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. That was my nickname when I played over in Italy. I don't know how it got that way, but anyway, I'm from Senate District 6, which is parts of a big chunk of St. Louis County and about half of Itasca County. 5 of the 6 taconite plants are in my Senate district, and a couple of other budding plants that might be coming up in the very near future are also in my district, that's including polymet and potentially wasabi metallics. And so a real lot of the trust fund money comes from mining, and I'm happy to hear that there's lots of people on this committee that are willing to continue to learn about it, because it's a really big deal for the state of Minnesota, not only for the product that we produce, but also for the schools and the University of Minnesota. So I'm proud to be on this committee, and I look forward to seeing the work we're going to do.
Thank you, Senator Tomassoni. And one of the areas that was mentioned by a few members was the school trust lands. I served on school trust as well and will continue to do so. And obviously our mining industries play a huge role in the school trust as well as our forest industries. So this committee obviously has a big interest in that. So our first testifier I wanted to bring in today was Aaron Vandelin from the school trust. Well, it looks like Senator Isaacson, do you have a question quick first before we continue on with?
Yeah, I'm new to this, and I know how the Environment Committee kind of works in terms of jurisdictions. Have they nailed one down yet for you guys, or is that still up in the air and being negotiated? Or
It's Senator Isaacson. It sounds like they are still working on that internally.
Okay, so just keep.
We can, when we have more details about it, we can let the committee know what that looks like a little more.
Cool, thank
We
you.
know which section specifically will have jurisdiction over.
Wonderful, thanks.
So our first individual, again, Aaron Vandelin from the School Trust. Again, it's an area that I've been passionate about, and I know a few of the other members on this committee have been as well. So we're just going to get an update from him. And a few of you already are familiar with what's going on the School Trust lands, but I'm going to pass it over to Aaron, and he can give us his presentation. If anybody is unable to see it, we can certainly email that to committee members. They may have already received a copy of the presentation, just in case. But I'll turn it over to you, Aaron.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Aaron Vandelin, School Trust Lands Director. I have to apologize for the technical difficulties at the beginning. I think everybody could see me in the conference room. Unfortunately, I couldn't hear you, so I'm going to have to do this from my desk. And I guess you can only see half of my face with the light because I haven't been here for about 9 months. So I lost a light behind my desk in some way, somehow. So just bear with me, please.
We can see you just fine.
Okay, good. So, Mr. Chair, I have a pretty long presentation. I might skip through it a little bit more to be efficient. I know some of the other presenters are going to address some of the topics that I have on here as well. So I'll let you know if I'm going to skip a slide, if that's okay.
Yep, that's perfect.
Okay, so what I thought I would do today was really walk through the last 5 years as the director of School Trust Lands, and where we have been and where we're going. And I'll jump around a little bit in our asset management plan and highlight a couple of key projects, and then end with where we're going. So as most of you know, and I know Senator Isaacson, you're probably new to this. If you want a primer on School Trust 101, I'd be more than happy to spend some time with you on that. So we went through an analysis of where we've been the last 5 years. And I should start off by saying, and thanking Governor Walz and the support of the Legislative Commission and some of our other partners, beneficiary groups, et cetera. I was reappointed by Governor Walz to a second term that started on January 1. It lasts 4 years. So my second term will end on December 31st of 2025. As most of you know, our work is focused on the school trust beneficiaries, which are roughly the 865,000 public school students in the state. And just to put it in perspective, the school trust over the last 10 years has distributed roughly $275 million to the various school districts throughout the state. So we're very proud of that number. It's a number where education does not have to come to the legislature and ask for money. This is money that they receive, their constitutionally dedicated funds. On the next slide, I just have I know most of you have seen this before, just an overview of what the school trust assets are. And I'm on slide 4 right now, the school trust portfolio. It has, and I can share my screen, Senator, if you'd like.
Yeah.
Yes, please do share your screen.
All right, just give me 1 second. All right, let's see. You slide master. Whoa, I'm sorry. I running into some difficulties. I have too many screens here to choose from. And that is not what I wanted. I don't know what just happened there. Sorry about that. So our school trust portfolio can everybody see that okay? Am I sharing yet?
Yep, we see it.
Okay, perfect. So the school trust portfolio has two main assets, real property assets, 2.5 million acres, and mainly 10 northern counties. About 90% of the land base is in northeast Minnesota. You can kind of see the checkerboard in northeast Minnesota. So that's 2.5 million acres of a unified or a united surface and mineral estate, and then another 1 million acres of severed minerals that we manage for the school trust beneficiaries. We also have financial assets, and these financial assets are really when we've taken a school trust asset and converted it to cash, whether it's through lease payments or royalty payments or land sales. I know the slide that I sent out says the current fund value is $1.6 billion. Double check that number today against the State Board of Investments reports, and their performance report from September of 2020 said the value of the fund was 1.699 billion. So I rounded up to 1.7 billion. You can see the vast majority of those assets come from our mineral estate and minerals management. Rough numbers, 80% of that $1.7 billion has come from minerals and minerals revenues, whether it's leasing or royalty payments. Forestry and real estate are pretty much even at 7 and 9%. And then we say about 4% of that 1.7 is the increased value of the financial instruments. Another way to think about it a little bit more in detail is the permanent school fund and then the different resources. So where do we get the revenue? And this should say 1.7, I apologize. Mineral revenues mainly from leasing and royalty payments. It is actually over 90% of our current income. Last calculation I did, it was just over 91%. We do get real estate revenues from leases, real estate leases, easements, utility licenses, things of that nature. And then forest products. Forest products are a small but steady stream of revenue for the school trust. So just to put it in perspective, in last year, fiscal 20, mineral revenues across all resources was $27.9 million. 25.5 of that came from school trust resources, school trust minerals, and royalty payments from Mintech, U.S. Steel's Mintech facility in Mountain Iron. The forest resources last year had a down year, as we can all imagine, and the net revenue from that was 1.7 million. So a big disparity, if you will, between the revenue sources. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit and really talk about our role in the Office of School Trust Lands and what we've accomplished over the last 5 years and where we're going. So our role really in state government and managing school trust lands is to develop the long-range strategic plans. We also work with the legislature and the Permanent School Fund Commission on legislation that enhances or improves school trust asset management. And we provide advice on a regular basis to the land manager of the Department of Natural Resources, and have really worked hand in hand with them over the last 3 years, more or less, to get a process in place on how we engage with DNR. And I think that was to the benefit of the school trust beneficiaries. Next slide really is just the cover of our school trust strategic plan from 2018. We started developing this plan in 2017. It was published in 18. And we came up with 4 focus areas that we wanted to concentrate on that we thought would improve school trust lands. One was our operating environment, how the Office of School Trust Land, being a new entity in state government was going to operate and function. So we had to stand up a new agency in a sense. Also worked through fiduciary integrity, as you can see, strategic direction, and I'll touch on all of these in a few slides. And then another one that was very important that we're still continuing to work on is education and communication. And the concept there is, what would it look like if all Minnesotans knew that they benefited from school trust lands? I like to tell my kids that they're trust fund babies, even though I don't have a trust fund set up for them. So real quick on operating environment, really worked out an agreement with DNR on how we're going to operate and how we're going to work to meet those fiduciary responsibilities. As I mentioned, our administrative policies and procedures, standing up a new office, you have to have all those things in place. And then last year, we finally got our budget structure situated in state government so that we're able to operate. On the fiduciary integrity side, that school trust strategic plan, I'm going to focus on the Boundary Waters land exchanges. It's been a long-standing project. I know I sound like a broken record on where we're at on this project. I will preface my remarks by saying, based on the initial timeline worked out with the U.S. Forest Service, we're at least 3 years behind schedule. So the Boundary Waters project, there's a map of, in the gray is what's the Superior National Forest, and then just north, or in the northern border of Minnesota, you can see the red squares and the yellow squares. Those are the school trust lands that have been locked in the Boundary Waters since 1964 or 78, depending on when you start the clock. I started on 78 when they finalized the boundary, this black border that goes around it. That's the minerals management zone in Minnesota. So in this project, we have roughly 83,000 acres of school trust lands that are locked inside the wilderness area that cannot meet their obligation to generate revenue for school trust beneficiaries, or the 860-some thousand kids in the state that go to public school. We have worked with the Forest Service since August of 2012 to advance this project. Here's the broken record piece. This is our third year of me saying that we are in the appraisal stage. That being said, we anticipate having certified appraised values in late March, early April of this year. That will then trigger the Forest Service to complete its reviews under their NEPA process, and they'll be issuing a draft record of decision. There'll be public hearings. There'll be a final record of decision. And really what this tees us up for is a land exchange board meeting in, I'm going to say it today, subject to change, March of 2022. We were originally anticipating being at the land exchange board in December of 18. So any questions on anything that I've covered so far about the Boundary Waters project? Okay, I have two screens up, so I have to look both ways to see if anybody's raised their hand or shaking their head. I'll switch to another strategic area out of the strategic plan. One of our focus areas was innovation and strategic direction. And you can see on the slide, it's really to develop strategies that maximize our revenue opportunities. And we've done a number of different things with resource feasibility studies related to biomass, related to cost structures and things of that nature. We've also just recently initiated a project with multiple groups. So it's the Office of School Trust Lands, DNR Resource Assessment Shop, the Nature Conservancy, NRRI, and Dovetail Partners, who's actually serving as the project lead. And what we're trying to determine with that project is the carbon storage potential of school trust lands. And we're hoping once we get that analysis done, that one, we'll be able to, well, we'll know what the carbon potential is from school trust forests, but we'll also be able to identify, hopefully, a pilot project where we can engage a carbon sequestration company and set up a carbon stock program where we can possibly sell some carbon offset credits. The one that I wanted to focus on that you can see in red is the asset management plan. Under the School Trust Lands Director Statute, we have the requirement to not only do a 10-year strategic plan and update it every 5 years, but we also have to do a 25-year management framework. We're doing that in conjunction with DNR. We've been working on the asset management plan project for about a little over 2 years now. And really what we're looking to accomplish is to establish a guidebook so that agency staff, elected officials, the general public, our beneficiary groups, some of the other conservation groups, they know what factors that we take into consideration when we're making decisions for the school trust. So how do you go about doing that? It seems pretty straightforward, but it's actually a very intense project. The first thing that we're trying to do is to get the best and the most efficient mix of the revenue generating opportunities. We do that by classifying the assets so that we know what our primary assets are, our primary revenue generating assets, i.e. minerals, i.e. forestry, some real estate. And then we're also, we're looking to determine where those lands or how those lands will be managed in the future and looking out 25 years for that. And we'll do that really in a phase 2, which is called an asset business plan, not an asset management plan. The asset management plan is kind of the overarching policy document. And then the business plan, which will be phase 2 of that, will actually lay out the benchmarks and the goals for each different asset. So why an asset management plan? Or what else will we get from an asset management plan? That it needs to consider these ancillary public benefits. And the one that I wanted to focus on really was this contributing to the regional economic vitality. If you think about where school trust lands are located and what their purpose is and how they benefit the regional economies, iron mining, and I know Ms. Johnson from Iron Mining Association will talk about this hopefully a little bit more in detail. The last figures I have is the iron mining industry contributed $1.8 billion to Minnesota's economy. That's huge. We have to maintain our mineral assets. We have to maintain a united surface and mineral estate so that we can access our minerals. That's critical. Forestry, very similar. They're a top 5 generator from an industry standpoint in the state. So we have to maintain those lands and get them in consolidated blocks that eases some of the management issues that we've run into. But they do other things as well. We safeguard our clean air and water. I know we all appreciate that in Minnesota. We maintain our fish and wildlife habitat. And what most folks don't know or take for granted is that all 2.5 million acres is generally open for outdoor recreation in Minnesota. And I know we like to get out and recreate in Minnesota. Not everybody snowshoes, but we all do get out on rate. The last one, education and communication. This is pretty straightforward. We're going to continue to work on this. I believe I sent a copy of the trust fund baby infographic. I think this was a big hit when we put that out. It really shows the impact, I think, across Minnesota and what we can use the lands for. And then one of the last things that I wanted to talk about that we've been able to have some success on over the last 5 years is legislative initiatives, working with the Permanent School Fund Commission, modifications to the minerals management account so that the net revenues are deposited in a timely fashion. The school trust now has the ability to engage in expedited land exchange projects with county governments. We did one with Beltrami County for their, I believe it was a waste disposal station that was encroaching on school trust lands. And then we also changed our, didn't change our authority, but we have authority now to act as a temporary trustee in condemnation action. So when the school trust is being condemned for a public purpose, the school trust director has the authority to accept a temporary trustee role and be engaged in that litigation so that we can be assured that the school trust gets the amount of money that it's owed. So that's a lot of what we've done the last 5 years. Where do we go from here? Well, it's pretty straightforward. I will say that we've accomplished the majority of the 2018 plan, and we're looking at it. My staff and I were looking at it last October and where we needed to go, and started to look at, this plan's going to need to be updated in year 5. We're 2.5, 3 years into it. We've made, I would say, significant progress, and we believe it's time to update the plan. A lot's changed since 2018 as well, and I'm not just referring to COVID, but that's one of the changes for sure. But the biggest change is we have a new governor, and the governor put out a 2-year strategigic vision, and the DNR has a new commissioner, Commissioner Stroman, and the DNR has put out a new 2-year strategic vision as well. So we were looking at those initiatives and realized that we needed to take another look at our focus areas. I can't tell you that the operating environment or the fiduciary integrity will still be there. I'm pretty sure innovation and strategic direction will remain, education and communication will remain, but we're actually really working through this process again to identify new strategies that can further benefit school trust beneficiaries. And that process is just started. It will require some work on the Permanent School Fund Commission and other stakeholders in the near future. And with that, Mr. Chair, I am at the end of my presentation and be happy to answer any questions that are out there.
Thank you, Mr. Vandal, and we appreciate that. So we'll open it up for a few quick member questions, and then we'll head on to the next one. And if anybody has any questions afterwards, they can certainly reach out to Aaron's office as well, and also for Senator Isaacson. He gives a good presentation in much more detail. So if you have an opportunity to meet with them in person sometime, that's a great thing to do. A lot of knowledge base there. So and congratulations on getting appointed again, Aaron. We're happy to see that. So we do have a question from Senator Ruud.
Not so much a question as a statement. I just want members to realize that our fiduciary responsibility is to the children of Minnesota, and that's of the utmost importance to keep in your mind every time you think about the school trust land. And the school trust has provided $30 this last biennium, $30 for every student in the state of Minnesota. And that's incredible. Our schools never have the opportunity to have money that's unencumbered. And so I think it's our duty to keep the money unencumbered. When the school district gets the money, the school trust money, they can choose to use it for whatever they need it for. If they need IT, do they need a new roof? Do they need something for the students? The school districts and the schools have the opportunities to take the money from the school trust and use it for what the local students need it for. And I think it's our job to make sure, when people see a pot of money, they automatically think that they should dedicate it to something else. And so it's our responsibility to make sure that this money goes to the school districts unencumbered so that the local schools can use it for what the local children need. And I can't express that enough. And then I do want to thank Aaron. I laughed when he said my staff, and I went, oh my gosh, I remember before Aaron was appointed and we were on a shoestring and we had no one. We were just glad to have Aaron. And so we have come so far with this issue. So I thank you. I think you're being a little modest in your presentation, because the 5 years, that was a lot of work by a lot of people. So, but just keep in mind that our fiduciary responsibility is to the children. Thanks.
Thank you, Senator Rood. Any additional questions? Seeing none at the moment. Again, if there's any more, please feel free to reach out to Aaron's office. I have Joe Henderson up next.
Yeah, so
remember to state your name for the record.
Sure. Megan, could you drive here and bring up the presentation that I sent you?
She is working on it right now. I'm going to take her just a moment. She's trying to get it up there.
Fantastic. In the meantime, maybe I'll just go through my early slide. Good afternoon, Senators, Chairman Eichhorn. Again, can you bring it up full size? This was the problem I was having earlier. Hey, there we go. Thank you, Megan. I appreciate your IT better than mine today. So my name is Joe Henderson. I am the Director of the Lands and Minerals Division at the Minnesota DNR. Glad to be here with you virtually today. I'm going to try and give some general overview information on mining in Minnesota. I'm going to go big picture. This may be review for most of you, so I'm going to keep it brief. If we were in person today, I would be passing around core samples and cool mineral samples. If you can see me on the side, I have all my mineral samples still, but due to COVID, we can't do that today. It was always kind of a highlight. It seems to bring out the geologist in all of us. But again, someday in the future, I hope to do that. So the slide you have in front of you right now.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Senator Tomassoni.
Mr. Chairman, and since we're in the COVID world and nobody's in the Capitol but us, if anybody wants to see some of those core samples, come to my office because I have them.
That's right. That's right.
I've got one here in my office, but I'm sure your collection is bigger than mine.
I've got some even newer ones. Long story, but I've got some Talon samples, Senator Tomassoni, that are pretty cool. So with just 20 minutes today, I'm going to stay real high level on most of the information and spend half of the time given to me on kind of the where we are at part of the conversation. Kelsey and Frank can add greater detail afterwards in their areas of expertise. As you know, the DNR works in minerals development as well as regulatory oversight. These are treated as two very distinct responsibilities at the DNR. We have great experience and expertise in these areas, and we take this very serious. First few slides, I'm going to talk about at a high level mineral development role, including leasing and exploration. Then I'm going to transition to our regulatory role and touch briefly on research, environmental review, and permitting, where we ensure that mining is done in compliance with laws in a way that's environmentally sound and ensures that mined areas are reclaimed for future use. I'm going to finish with a little bit of geology mixed in with the where we are at part of the presentation. I will review most of the facilities permitting or exploring in the state of Minnesota. The visuals that you have on this slide are pictures of the Embarrass mine near Boavik, kind of a then and now, right? The bottom left is from the 1950s. This mine was developed when World War II broke out. It was a natural ore mine with iron content as high as 70%. 21 million tons of ore was mined before it was then transitioned into a sand quarry, which closed in the 1960s. Quarry. It is now the Quarry Golf Course, ranked the #1 public golf course in the state and top 20 in the nation. Next slide, Megan. The DNR has a key role in mineral leasing and exploration. DNR manages the state's mineral estate. Minnesota was set up, as you heard Aaron say, as a land grant state where the purpose of the state land is to generate revenue for the long-term benefit of society. The state currently manages about 12 million acres in total of mineral rights. 5 million of that is permanent school trust land, about 1 million university land, and the remainder be tax forfeit and other smaller categories. The largest, you heard Aaron say this, the largest source of revenue to these trusts is mining royalties and mineral leasing fees, which I'm adding on top of some of the things Aaron talked about. So royalties are a fee per ton paid by a company when they mine state ore. Lease fees are fees paid by a company to use state land to explore for minerals or to operate a mine. Next slide. So I thought I would show a map of the historic leasing of state minerals. In managing the state mineral estate, leasing of public land is key. You can see that since 1904, we've had quite a bit of mineral leasing. It's not uncommon to have the same parcel leased for decades or to have it leased by more than one company over time for exploration. The map above is a bit dated, but it indicates where the state mineral leases have been offered and where they were current in 2019. We've had a major exploration company cancel their leases since 2019. Anglo Gold Ashanti canceled 230 exploration leases in 2020 due to competing projects in other areas. Next slide, Megan. Through either a negotiated lease or a lease offering, once leased, lands with state mineral rights can be explored. What is mineral exploration? You see in the pictures here on the right side, two types of exploration. Drilling in the top picture and a type of magnetic geophysical survey in the bottom. This is the hula hoop metal detector. It's kind of behind some of our pictures, but you can see the gentleman with the metal detector around his waist. You can see in the statistics how few parcels are actually ever drilled or explored by drilling, only 1.8%. The DNR, I want you to know, inspects every drill site to ensure compliance with environmental and Department of Health laws. It should be noted that even with targeted drilling on very few parcels of land, Minnesota drilling in 2018 cost companies an estimated $4 million. Next slide. So how much money are we talking about for lease and royalty revenue from exploration and mining? Well, you can see the data here, and I'm going to add data to this because this slide is a little bit dated. So I have the data going off the chart for 2019. It was up from fiscal 2018 with a total mineral revenue of $30,893,000. The data for 2020 is also now on the books, and it is even up from 2019 with a total mineral revenue of $31,658,000. State fiscal year 2021 started out very slow for obvious reasons. But now the demand is quite high, and the price for some steel is actually at a 10-year high. Also, the $11.5 million paid on royalties owed by Mesabi Metallics is going to help bring our 2021 revenue across all land classifications up from its slow start. Over the years, Aaron covered this, over the years, the mineral revenue has funded over 80%, Aaron said 90 now, of the school trust balance, and mineral revenue has funded over 90% of the university trust balance. Revenue changes from year to year based on the companies where they choose to mine, whether it's more on private land or on public land, the price of the ore at the time it's mined, and the overall economic health of the industry. Aaron did mention that the school trust balance is approximately $1.7 billion. Next slide. So you are all likely familiar with the significant role the DNR plays in regulatory oversight of mines. Research plays a key role in our ability to regulate. The DNR has been conducting research related to potential environmental effects of mining for decades. Much of this work is done at our Hibbing office, where we have a lab and a field research facility. I would encourage you to visit the research facility and our core library in Hibbing if you have not done so already. The research work we conduct helps facilitate predicting, understanding, and mitigating environmental issues associated with environmental review and permitting for mining projects. Next slide. The DNR's regulatory work is separate from our fiduciary role in the management of state minerals. The DNR is filled with top-notch scientists and regulatory staff that provide a thorough and independent review of project proposals and ensure compliance at mine sites. We base all of our regulatory decisions on strong science and the application of state environmental protection laws. I'm going to summarize some of the DNR's different areas of regulation, but know that I am just scratching the surface of the scope of the regulatory work that we do. Environmental review. There are mandatory categories and rules for triggering environmental review for a mining project. The categories consider factors such as whether it's a new project, the size, or the size of the expansion of an existing project. As you may have heard, there may be as many as 20 permits required for a project like the PolyMet project. Next, we'll talk some of the major permits the DNR is responsible for. So the permit to mine. The purpose of the permit to mine is to control the possible adverse environmental effects of mining by ensuring orderly construction and development of the mine, sound operational practices, and progressive reclamation of mined areas. The permit to mine also includes provisions that govern wetland impacts and mitigation, and it is the key permit for setting financial assurance requirements for a mine. Water appropriation permits. This is the DNR program and the permits to manage water resources, both surface and ground, to provide for reasonable use while ensuring long-term sustainability and natural resource protection. Dam safety permits. This program issues and manages permits to regulate the construction, alteration, operation, maintenance, and closure of dams to protect public health, safety, and welfare. The program manages all dams in the state, and for mining projects in Minnesota, the relatively flat topography necessitates a ring dam system for tailings basins. Work in public waters. If a proposer's project will affect the course, current, or cross-section of a public water, it may require a public water work permit. Threatened and endangered species takings permit. Minnesota Endangered Species Law prohibits the take of endangered or threatened plants or animals without a permit from the DNR. Applications are considered when the proposer provides justification that all alternatives to the proposed take have been considered and rejected, and that the taking is unavoidable. Next slide. One way to look at Minnesota's mineral resources is as a portfolio. There are the metallic mineral resources containing iron, manganese, titanium, copper, platinum, nickel, cobalt, zinc, and gold. These are also referred to as the ferrous and non-ferrous metallic minerals and base precious metals. Minnesota is number 3 in the nation in metallic mineral production value, and we have been for years. I think Kelsey and Frank may tell you more about that. There are also the non-metallic minerals, including peat, sand and gravel, clay, and stone resources, such as silica sand and crushed and dimension stone. These are also referred to sometimes as industrial minerals. For time reasons, I'm going to focus on the metallic minerals and give some data and project updates. Next slide. Here's a geologic-based map showing where our potential iron ore resources and non-ferrous resources are in the state. You can see in the rust color Minnesota's iron formations. The Cuyuna Range in north-central Minnesota, the Mesabi Range stretching 110 miles from Grand Rapids to Babbitt, and the Vermilion Range, which is the rust-colored sliver near Tower, Sudan, which, by the way, is home to the Sudan Underground Mine, the state's first iron mine, which is still in operation today as a state park with over 32,000 visitors each year. You can see southeast of the Mesabi Range, is the Duluth complex, which is home to one of the world's largest undeveloped deposits of copper, nickel, and precious metals. There has been metallic mining in all of our iron ranges and quite a bit of mineral exploration in the Duluth complex. But much of Minnesota has yet to be explored, and there are areas of high mineral potential across the state, especially in northern Minnesota. The green areas all represent potential deposits of metallic minerals based on some limited exploration and aeromagnetic mapping efforts of the past. Next slide. So let's focus in on the Iron Range. This is what most people think of when you talk mining in Minnesota, the Mesabi Range. It stretches from Grand Rapids to Babbitt and has been mined for over 140 years. Although there is some disagreement among scientists, the prevailing theory is that the Mesabi Range was created after iron and silica eroded into an ancient sea. The presence of marine algae raised the oxygen levels enough to precipitate out the iron and deposit it in what is now the Mesabi Range. This all occurred about 1 billion years ago when there wasn't a lot of plant life to create that oxygen. Let's talk a bit about the mining operations on the Iron Range. Let's move from west to east, so right to left. First, you see ERPI plants 4 and 2 near Bovey. These plants were built and operated by Magnetation. These are scram mining operations, meaning that they are re-mining abandoned waste rock stockpiles and tailings basin and recovering the iron to create iron concentrate for the market. Magnetation's plants got started in 2009 and employed over 400 people at one time. Magnetation filed for bankruptcy in 2015 and eventually was purchased by ERPI out of bankruptcy in 2017, only to have ERPI file for bankruptcy in 2018. The facilities are currently in bankruptcy proceedings. Next, you see, again moving east, the location of the Mesabi Metallics project. They are currently under construction near Nashwauk. This facility is one which the DNR is monitoring closely. Under a master lease agreement, the facility has multiple specific conditions they must complete before May 1st, 2021. And if those are met, then there are construction conditions which continue for the next few years. If conditions are not met, the state will have the authority to terminate state leases, which could leave the facility without sufficient ore to operate as planned. Further east is ERPI Plant 1. This was the first Magnetation scram mining facility, and it was in the same bankruptcy situation as the other 2 ERPI facilities. However, portions of the facilities were purchased this past year by Prairie River Minerals. They have used this site and one nearby to create a demonstration facility for scram mining. Their operation became fully permitted this fall, and it is expected to process historic stockpiles to market lump ore and sinter fines this spring. I believe this is one of the facilities Senator Tomassoni was talking about. Just to the north is U.S. Steel's Keewatin taconite mine. Keetac produces a 66% iron traditional taconite pellet. Keetac employs about 399 people. It's been in operation since 1969. Moving up the range is Hibbing taconite. This mine is operated by Cliffs Natural Resources. It's a joint venture between Cliffs at 85% and U.S. Steel at 15%. HibTac has been in operation since 1976 and employs approximately 735 people. This facility was one of the 2 Minnesota facilities involved in the sale of portions of ArcelorMittal's U.S. operations to Cliffs Natural Resources this fall. Hibbing taconite has about 5 years of iron ore supply left under their current lease reserves, and they're seeking to negotiate access to additional ore with private and public mineral owners. Next is Mining Resources, just south of Chisholm. This is an idled scram facility owned by Steel Dynamics out of Indiana. This site supplied concentrate to Mesabi Nugget Plant during its operation. When the Nugget Plant was idled in 2015, the scram operation was idled as well. They are currently looking at final closure and reclamation of this site. Just north of the city of Mountain Iron is U.S. Steel's Mintac taconite plant. This is the largest iron mine in the United States and the single largest miner of school trust ore. It began operation around 1967 and employs about 1,389 people. This mine, along with Keetac, produces almost half of the iron pellets on the range. As the iron formation starts to turn back south, we enter the area known as the Virginia Horn. First, we see the Cliffs Minorca taconite mine. This is also one of the ArcelorMittal assets purchased this fall by Cliffs. The Minorca operations stretch across the Horn towards Gilbert and Boabic. It employs about 354 people. It first began operation in 1977. At the base of the Horn near Eveleth is the United Taconite Mine. This is another of Cliffs Natural Resources mines. This is the mining operation which had the state move Highway 53 a few years back. They are mining in that area right now. KeyTac began in 1965 and employs 514 people. You can see that UTAC ships its crushed ore by rail slightly to the south for processing into pellets. We now jump up to the area of Aurora and Hoyt Lakes, and we find the former LTV mine site, which is owned by Cliffs Erie. Within this site, we have the idled Mesabi Nugget plant. During its operation, it produced a nugget that was 97% iron concentrate and was used in arc furnaces. This was a value-added product. Nugget is owned by Steel Dynamics. It opened in 2010 and idled in 2015. This facility employed about 132 people. The LTV property is also home to the Polymet plant site and tailings basin. We'll talk more about Polymet when we talk about non-ferrous minerals. And on the far east end of the Mesabi Range is the North Shore Mine near Babbitt. North Shore mines and crushes on site and then ships the crushed ore 47 miles to its Silver Bay pellet plant. North Shore is the site of the first taconite mine in North America. Mining began there in 1955. It employs about 562 people. Next slide, Megan. So I assume Kelsey will expand on the economic impacts of iron ore industry, but here are a few key points. I guess they're going to build. Next, I guess you got to click. Minnesota is the #1 producer of iron concentrate pellets in the US. Click. We are the source of 80% of the domestic supply of new iron. Next. The Mesabi Iron Range is the oldest continuously producing mining district in North America, over 140 years old. 6 operations running at full capacity equates to about 40 million tons of iron ore. Slightly more, we hope, next year with bringing Prairie River Minerals online. Again, a reminder that Hibbing taconite is facing depletion issues in the future. Next slide. Now moving on to non-iron metallic minerals. As I mentioned earlier, Minnesota has one of the largest undeveloped reserves of copper, nickel, and precious metals in the world. I will quickly give you a look at the location of some of these projects. I'm not going to touch on each one of these, but I will focus on a few. Encampment Minerals has a number of identified deposits, which include titanium oxide and copper nickel deposits in the area of Hoyt Lakes. These would include, you can see the deposits on your map, Serpentine, Wyman Creek, Section 22, Long Nose, Long Ear, and Skipbow. You've heard a lot about Polymet and the NorthMet project that you see on the pictorial here. The DNR issued permits to Polymet in November of 2018. Litigation followed and is still ongoing. The DNR expects to hear from the Minnesota Supreme Court within the next few months on appeals for the permit to mine and 2 dam safety permits the DNR issued for the facility. Just north of Polymet, near the North Shore Mine, is Teck America's Mesaba deposit. Teck is conducting both exploration and waste characterization at this time. Finally, in the Duluth complex, you move north to the Twin Metals deposits, most notably the Maturi deposit near Highway 1, just east of Birch Lake. The deposit ranges in depth from about 1,000 feet below the surface to 5,000 feet. Proposers have developed a plan for an underground mine and a dry stack tailings storage facility. This proposal is currently in early stages of environmental review with both state and federal agencies. I also need to mention, actually moving off of this map south to Aiken and Carleton counties, we have a very unique copper nickel deposit near the small town of Tamarack. This appears to be a highly mineralized deposit that's being explored by Talon Metals Corporation. Talon continues to drill to better define the deposit, as they have been expanding the size of what was originally thought to be a very small deposit. Respecting the time of others and some potential time for questions. I'm going to wrap up now and not go into any detail on other mines in Minnesota, such as, again, the sand and gravel, dimension stone, or peat. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Henderson, for the presentation from the DNR there. We appreciate it. Are there any quick questions from committee members? If not, we'll head on to Kelsey Johnson next from the Iron Mining Association. Seeing no hands, Kelsey, you're up. Just introduce yourself for the record.
Hi there, I'm Kelsey Johnson. I'm president of the Iron Mining Association, and it's my privilege and honor to be with you today. I'm going to share my screen quickly so that you can all see what I see on my screen as well. So we'll start off not with the taxes paid, but with the state of the iron mining industry and just kind of give a quick update on how everything's kind of coming together. But first, I'd like to introduce the Iron Mining Association of Minnesota. The mission of the IMA is to promote an iron ore industry that will provide long-term growth and prosperity for all stakeholders through profitability in a competitive and global market. The IMA has come to existence after 135 years of iron mining. We became an association 28 years ago, really to add the vendor member supplier businesses to the conversation. And prior to that, we were the American Iron Ore Association. And prior to that, we were the Lake Superior Industrial Bureau. So next, I'd just like to, again, highlight who makes up the IMA. We represent taconite and iron mines like Steel Dynamics and US Steel, and 150 supplier members who provide goods and services to the mines each and every day. So kind of just pivoting on what Joe was talking about, the history of iron mining in Minnesota, I'm going to highlight just a couple of these benchmarks, but in 1845, iron ore was discovered in the Lake Superior region. In 1884, in July of 1884, we had our first shipment of iron ore from Minnesota. In 1941, the production tax was created, and that's the tax that we pay in lieu of property taxes. Then between 1941 and 1945, Northeast Minnesota shipped 411 million tons of iron ore to our steelmaking facilities for the Allied war effort. In 1956, we actually introduced, and we're coming up on a 75-year anniversary of our taconite mining operations and their processes. In 1974, Minnesota's annual taconite production peaked at 65 million tons. And in 1987, we introduced what's called a flux pellet. A flux pellet is one of the best pellets for use in a blast furnace. It helps remove impurities as it heats up, impurities in the steel. In 2010, we had high-grade iron ore nuggets that were commercially produced by both Mesabi Nugget and Mining Resources. And then in 2018, we had a DR grade pellet commercially produced. Just to kind of highlight what Joe already went over, I wanted to also show this, this number here, the mine value. So these haven't been updated since the most recent acquisition, but if you look at the overall mine value, it's about $3.3 billion, and this is 2019 estimate, and overall employees are about 4,100. We produced about 38,000 tons that year, and we anticipate producing anywhere between 30 and 38 million tons any year. We have the capacity and the ability to produce anywhere between 40 and 45 million tons. Okay, just to go back to the economic impact. The economic impact of the iron mining industry, as I just said, was 3.3 billion. We actually believe that our number is more like 15,000 jobs region-wide. And the reason why we say that is because for every iron mining job, there are 2.2 roughly or 1.8 jobs created in support industries and businesses. Depending on who you talk to and depending on which study you look at, it can be anywhere between 1.8 and 2.2. So we're about 15,000 strong region-wide. These are people who actually do the work on these trucks here, the tires, and all of the other mechanical issues that may go on in a truck. So those are the kind of people that are making up the IMA. Those are the kind of people that are not accounted for in direct mining jobs. We're the largest private industry in Northeast Minnesota. We're also the largest contributor to the region's economy. And according to a 2010 study, we're 30% of the gross regional product. Tourism industry is about 11%. And to kind of put that into perspective, the average annual starting wage in the mining industry is $90,000. I was just looking at this the other day on Deed's website. In the tourism industry, it's about $18,000. So not really comparing apples to apples in that regard. So Minnesota Iron actually has a national impact as well. As Joe alluded to, we are the single largest source of iron in the nation. We produce 40 to 45 million tons of iron ore or taconite, or we're capable of doing that. That's 85% of domestic iron, and it comes straight out of Northeast Minnesota. We're a top 5 mining state. That's based on the value of our product. So if prices go up as they have, we might climb to top 2 or top 3. And we have done that in the past. We're also 2% of the global iron ore production. Part of the reason why we are such an important asset is actually our ability to ship from the local ports. So to kind of carry on with the national impact, there was a study that was conducted by the Department of Homeland Security that concluded that the American iron and steel industries combined support $1.1 trillion into the economy. That's 11 million jobs throughout the entire system, and it's about 16% of the nation's GDP. For each ton of iron ore, it has a net value of about $23,800 per ton. And each one of the Lakers, there are about 48. There's another one that's coming online here pretty quick. Carries about anywhere between 40 and 70,000 tons. So if you look at it like 40,000 to 70,000 tons per Laker with $23,800 in economic activity, it's a pretty robust number that each one of those ships is carrying. So I would encourage you to try to do the math sometime when you are looking at the port in Lake Superior, any of the ports. American steel is really green steel. So we're 50% greener than any competing nation. And this was concluded in a study that American Iron and Steel Institute did in 2018. We have 3,500 different types of steel, and 75% of those types of steel have been created in the last 20 years. What I really wanted to highlight in this slide was the amount of, this is a carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, basically a carbon oxide emissions from the World Air Quality Index. This is what we're looking at today in the United States. And then this is the large particulate matter that that is emitted across the world. And as you can see, the United States is, again, mostly green, some yellows. But if you look at other competing nations that we're competing against, Turkey and Iran over here, a lot of reds and purples. China is another big competitor, as is India. So when we talk about whether or not we're going to buy our steel from some source, sourcing it from American or domestic sources is really a key component. Secondly, I just kind of wanted to highlight, I did talk a little bit about how the Great Lakes play such a key role. This is a map from 1907, and it kind of shows the way that the iron is mined. Here's the iron formation here, and another formation here in Wisconsin and Michigan. Even back in the early 1900s, it was pretty well understood that the route for the iron and taconite was this system. So this is where the ports are here, and this iron flows through the Sulaks into Michigan and into Lakes Erie and Huron for steelmaking and finishing. So this, while it was interesting to see it in the early 1900s, it's still the route that many of the iron or the iron flows through throughout the Great Lakes system. To kind of give you an idea, basically the current reach goes from Lake Michigan, which is the highest recipient of our taconite, to Lake Erie, then to the Detroit area, St. Lawrence, and then we do have a small percentage that goes to a foreign source, Lake Ontario and Lake Huron. Taxes paid, we had about $105 million in taxes, state and local taxes in 2018, 2019. 30 million supported local schools in the region. The University of Minnesota receives roughly between 15 and 20 million, depending on the years that we're operating. So I used a 2014 number. The remainder of that money was funneled to local communities where mining takes place throughout the IRRB region or the taconite assistance area, for those of you that are familiar with that. We also pay a substantial amount in royalties, and the royalties are paid through the Permanent School Lands Trust or through the Permanent University Trust Fund. According to 2014 numbers, it was 58 million in royalties that we paid to the school trust lands, and that the current school trust fund balance is at about 1.8 billion, like Aaron was talking about. Every student in Minnesota, I believe, received over $40 toward their education last year, but I could be wrong. Aaron, you'll have to correct me on that. And 3,000 University of Minnesota students received $2,000 per academic year through the Permanent University Fund. That's system-wide, so it's not just the University of Minnesota Twin Cities campus or the Duluth campus. This was kind of just a breakdown of the overall taxes and distribution. This is a graph that the Minnesota House of Representatives Research Department came up with from 2018 taxes and distribution. As you can see, our production tax was about $86.7 million. We also had an occupation tax, that's like a corporate income tax, that was 13.1 million. And this is kind of the general distribution of where this money goes. So the vast majority of the money goes to school districts. The second big pot of money goes to the IRRB. You'll also see some go to the cities and townships. We do provide property tax relief to many property owners on the Iron Range in the taconite assistance area. And we even provide some money to the Hockey Hall of Fame. Finally, I just want to touch on some of the industry concerns. We are always competing against other nations like China, Turkey, Iran. And I think that it's really important that whenever possible, we buy from domestic sources and we source our steel responsibly. So we'll always be looking at foreign competition and foreign steel dumping. Right now, China is producing a lot of steel, and I would anticipate that at some point in time we may see some foreign steel trying to get onto our shores. But the Section 232 that was established in the current administration, we hope will hold through the second administration, and we hope will be a part of the overall conversation with this new administration. Energy costs are really a big part of our overall conversation, and I'll talk about that again. And then obviously taxes are something that continuously go up. This year's production tax is $2.87. That's about I believe it's a 10 cent increase over last year. So it's the production tax, unlike any other tax, is on what's called an escalator. So it increases every year. So we'll be watching that as well. On the energy front, as you can see, Minnesota is here. The US average is here. Energy prices have gone from being some of the lowest in the nation to some of the highest. We went from 15th lowest in early 2000s to now 13th highest. And we continue to see those prices climb. And that is a huge portion of our overall cost inputs when it comes to our production and our ability to produce taconite pellets. It's about 25% of our cost of production, and electricity makes up 12 to 15% of that 25%. The reason why is because we have to take the rocks that we mine and then crush them into a fine powder, almost like face powder. And in order to take the rock from a boulder or bigger and crush it into that fine face powder requires a lot of energy. And that's really where the cost comes in. So we're watching this as a particular area of interest for us moving into the near future. But those are the primary areas that we're mostly concerned with. And if anybody has any questions, I'm available to answer anything that you may have.
Thank you, Kelsey. And we're starting to get closer to the end. I see Senator Isaacson has one quick, and then we'll move on to Frank. And if there's more questions, we can do some questions at the end. But go ahead, Senator Isaacson.
just want to know, is when you say green steel, do you mean that steel that's produced with less emissions or something, or what does that mean exactly?
Yeah, the study that was conducted by the American Iron and Steel Institute evaluated both carbon and greenhouse gas emissions and said that the American steel market is about 50% more renewable and cleaner than any other competing nation. And so I'm glad that you asked that question. It is really imperative, I think, as much as possible for our iron and steel making industries to continue to provide a good quality product, especially for something like a wind turbine or even as we move into these electric vehicles to produce that steel here where we know that the source is clean and green.
Mr. Chairman,
Senator Thomasoni?
Kelsey, why don't you, just for to expand on Senator Isaacson's question, how much money has the taconite industry put into cleaning up the emissions and just environmental safeguards over the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, whatever it is?
I have a better sense of over the last 12 to 15 years, just on the greenhouse gas emission side, and to help our partner Minnesota Power, who recently achieved the 50% renewable benchmark. We've contributed about 1.3 billion, and we're 50% of their overall customer base. So it's 600 million-ish that we've contributed in order to move Minnesota Power to that 50% green and renewable benchmark.
Yeah, I was thinking more about actually putting investments into plants that were actually cleaning up emissions.
Yeah, each facility spends multiple millions of dollars every year on making sure that they're as environmentally efficient and as environmentally safe as possible. I know that one facility quoted me 300 million that they had spent over the last decade. So that's on their water discharging systems and their air quality and Clean Air Act emission systems. So I can confidently say that that's how much they've spent over the course of a decade. Industry-wide, I would imagine that that number is closer to $1 billion, if not more.
Thanks, Kelsey. All right, we'll head on to Frank next because I know we're getting kind of close to the end here. We got about 20 more minutes. So go ahead, Frank. We'll get you onto your presentation. Then if we don't have time for a lot of questions, we'll certainly get members on the committee your information to be able to reach out to you as well if they have questions after the hearing is over. So go ahead, just introduce yourself for the record.
Thank you, Senator. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Frank Ungaro. I'm the Executive Director of Mining Minnesota. I'm going to spend just a couple minutes talking about the metals in Minnesota, the companies that are investing here, the significance of what we have, our import dependency, and what kind of opportunity we have for helping out with the clean energy opportunities, how we perceive the regulatory process, and some of the economic benefits of the industry. I have a lot of slides. I'll go through them quickly. So here we go. We're ready to bring the next generation of mining to the state of Minnesota. We have in northeastern Minnesota copper, nickel, platinum, palladium, gold, cobalt, titanium, manganese, all here and all in large quantities. And that's attracting investment like crazy from all over the world. Polymet and Glencore, Twin Metals, Antofagasta, Kennecott, Rio Tinto, Teck, Talon, Encampment, and the list goes on. They're spending hundreds of millions of dollars in our state, all in mineral development, exploration and mineral development activity. So over that 50 years that Joe described of leasing and exploration, these companies have found that in northeastern Minnesota, our Duluth complex and Talon a little bit to the west, that we hold literally one of the largest undeveloped deposits of these metals on the entire planet. We've already identified this deposit to have over 8 billion tons, and every time these companies drill a hole in the ground, they find more and more mineralization. That number is just going to grow and grow. We're sitting on the second largest known copper deposit in the world, the third largest nickel deposit, and the second largest platinum group metal deposit. And equally as important is these deposits contain 34% of our total domestic copper nickel resource. Almost all, 95% of our nickel resource in this country, 75% of platinum and palladium PGM metals, and we're sitting on 88% of all the cobalt in this country right here in northeastern Minnesota. You saw the map of where these deposits are, so I won't spend any time on that. So why are we hearing about all this now? Well, the technology exists to mine these minerals responsibly. Demand going through the roof, not only domestically, but globally. And yes, these companies believe that they can do this economically and make a profit. Nobody invests in anything unless they think they can make a profit. Demand in this country, domestically, for these minerals grows and grows. And as we add more and more people on this planet globally, you can just imagine how that demand is growing throughout our planet. But we're not keeping up. We are consuming significantly more than we produce. Copper, for example, we produce in this country about 1.2 million tons. We consume over 1.8 million tons. And we always hear, well, let's recycle more. We can just recycle more. Yes, we can, and we should. But we already recycle quite a bit. We have 150,000 tons from recycling. And keep in mind that 65% of all copper produced since 1900 is still in use. It's in buildings, it's in homes, it's in cars. And about 35% of the total global supply comes from scrap. Make no mistake, we cannot recycle ourselves to meet demand for the growing demand for copper or any of these other minerals. Nickel, we produce 19,000 tons, one plant, the Eagle Mine in Michigan. When that's done, we have all the nickel, the entire remaining 95% of the US resource right here. And we consume 270,000 tons. That number is just going to keep going up. Platinum and palladium, we produce 18,000 kilograms. We import 148,000 for our US consumption, making things like catalytic converters, taking air emissions out of automobiles. Cobalt, 500 tons produced of a cobalt-bearing concentrate in Michigan. We're consuming 9,500 tons. Just imagine with electric vehicles how that demand is going up. And quite frankly, we are not only import dependent on these metals, but just about every metal that we have more and more over the decades. Instead of going down, our dependency on foreign resources is growing. So when we look at the opportunity for these companies that are investing in Minnesota to bring development projects forward, we look at the regulatory system. And quite frankly, we believe we have a strong regulatory system. In Minnesota, we believe there's a strong science-based regulatory system in Minnesota. We are not a soundbite state. We are not a testing ground or a guinea pig for anybody. We are thorough, comprehensive, and science-based on our regulations. Is there risk? There's risk in everything we do every day. And that's why we have regulations. Minnesota is a very difficult place to permit any industrial project, let alone a mine. We have thorough, comprehensive environmental review and permitting. Our standards are exacting. And in Minnesota, we have a history of getting things right. And that's a good thing. So when we go forward and a company has a project, there's regulatory agencies at the state level, tribal government, at the federal level, all making sure that these companies are demonstrating that they can meet all these standards or they're not going to have a chance to move forward. Every project's different. Polymet's different from twin metals. Twin metals will be different from what project comes next. They'll all have separate environmental review. And again, they all have to demonstrate they can meet all the standards. But if they do, we should all feel assured that because of our comprehensive regulatory process in place, that our air quality is protected, our water quality is protected, our human health is protected, that the taxpayers through financial assurance are protected, and in fact, the taxpayers benefit through all the jobs and the revenue and the taxes that come from these projects. We are also fortunate and blessed in northeastern Minnesota in the Duluth complex to have largely sulfur deficient ores. In fact, when former Commissioner Tom Landwehr was announcing the adequacy decision of the Polymet environmental impact statement, he stated at the press conference that Polymet will have no acid rock drainage. That's fantastic. And Twin Metals is anticipating the same thing. They will have to demonstrate that that's the case through environmental review, but why shouldn't they anticipate that? The Duluth complex, same sulfur deficient deposits, opportunities that are really, really positive. So we also hear, well, this has never been done before in this type of climate. Well, folks, that's not true. We have done this before right next door in Wisconsin, the Flambeau mine. The Wisconsin DNR lists the Flambeau mine as a successful operation and reclaimed mine. They had no permit violations, and the courts found that the company, Rio Tinto, in this case, was committed to the protection of the environment. There's the reclaimed Flambeau mine. It's right off the Flambeau River. I think they were operating less than 100 yards from the river. It's now part of the Park and Rec tourist opportunities for people in the Ladysmith, Wisconsin area. The Stillwater mine in Montana is operating successfully with the Good Neighbor policy, where environmental and conservation groups all work together with the companies, a steelworker represented operation. And the Eagle mine, an underground mine in northern Michigan, operating successfully, mining copper and nickel as we speak. The Stillwater mine is the only platinum producing operation in the country. And we'd be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about our desire for clean energy and a green economy. Keep in mind that you cannot have these opportunities without mining and mining for these metals. And we see very acutely now with the pandemic how the importance of these metals comes into play with our desires for medical and healthcare advancements as well. In an automobile, we're looking at almost about 4 times the amount of copper in an electric vehicle than an industrial internal combustion vehicle. We're looking at 4.7 tons of copper in a 3 megawatt wind turbine. And we're looking at a future that is growing faster than we can imagine. The World Bank estimates that in the next 25 years, we will need to mine as much copper as we have mined in the last 5,000 years. Nickel, our demand is expected to increase tenfold by 2030, and that's for electric vehicles only. And our cobalt consumption is expected to double by 2025. So when you look at an opportunity and the need for these metals for clean energy, and we hear that we shouldn't mine those here in Minnesota, you have to ask the question, where do you want your metals to come from? Do you want them to come from the Congo, where children are literally dying every week mining cobalt? Do you want them to come from China or Russia, where they have little environmental standards, polluting the planet as we speak? We think we should mine responsibly here, and that we should not export our jobs or environmental conscious to other foreign countries and that dependency. We believe that true environmental justice is to be done better in our backyard. And the economic benefits that come with that are tremendous. Polymet alone will have 360 jobs at its mine and plant site, 600 spin-off jobs in St. Louis County alone. A few years ago, Governor Dayton talked triumphantly about the importance of the Super Bowl and generating $500 million to the state by having the Super Bowl here. Polymet will be a Super Bowl every year for 20 years, bringing in over $500 million to our economy in Minnesota year after year after year, with millions of hours of building and trades, construction, trade, and labors on $1 billion project. And the next project that just started environmental review, Twin Metals, will have 750 new direct jobs, 1,500 spin-off jobs. Again, a project labor agreement with over 2 million hours on a $1.7 billion capital project. And again, they anticipate no acid rock drainage. Again, they will have to demonstrate that in environmental review. and they will have no waste rock, and they will have no tailings basin because they're proposing dry stack storage of their tailings. And after that, who's next? What great opportunities. Teck with a huge Mesaba deposit. Talon finding fantastic nickel content in their exploration. Encampment that Joe mentioned with 2 proven ore bodies. Vermilion Gold that keeps exploring. The opportunities here are tremendous for our state. Kelsey already mentioned the regional development and the opportunity that we have to double the size of the existing industry. Our wages for mining in Minnesota, you add all metal mining, it's now over $100,000 a year in annual wages compared to under $60,000 in the state, about $45,000 in St. Louis County. And again, the hospitality reference in St. Louis County of under $19,000 on average wages. So what does that mean? It means millions of dollars each year for cities and schools in the region through the net proceeds tax, millions of dollars each year for the state through the occupation tax. And yes, we talked about the Permanent School Trust Fund. The DNR did an estimate at one point, a snapshot in time, that these projects moving forward with the state school trust fund lands could generate over $2.4 billion to the corpus of the school trust fund. That's more than doubling the size of the existing corpus. And those royalties, holding down property taxes and sending more money to every school district across the state is a tremendous opportunity. So we want everyone to learn the facts on every project, not give in to the fear. Fear is a very, very powerful emotion. But hear from the regulators, participate in the open process as companies and projects move through it, because we all want the same thing. We all want to leave the environment in a sound way to our children and our grandchildren. But here in Minnesota, we have an opportunity to meet demand, do it with our jobs, protect the environment. And when we're all done, as environmentalists, we should all hold up the projects that come out demonstrating they can meet all the standards as models for not just our country, but for the entire world. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Frank. I was worried when I saw that thick packet, it might go on a while. You did great. You really sped through that. We appreciate that. It's a lot of information to take in a short period of time, and we got a little bit of time for a couple quick questions if we want. And if members have additional questions, we'd certainly share your contact or Ms. Johnson's or the folks from the DNR as well with members of the committee, so that way they can reach out with additional questions. But are there any questions from committee members at this time quickly? Seeing, oh, there's one from Senator Tomassoni. You're on mute, Senator. There you go.
So, Mr. Chairman and committee members and presenters, thank you very much. It was a real good history lesson, and to show how it all comes full circle for us. You have names like Rockefeller and Carnegie and Pillsbury. They all became billionaires off of iron mining. In fact, if you talk to the Pillsbury family, they'll tell you that they made more money on iron ore than they did on flour. After 140 years of mining, we have, according to the Environmental Quality Board, the only clean water in the entire state of Minnesota. So we know how to mine, and we know how to mine safely, and we know how to mine cleanly. 1941, you saw, was the beginning of the production tax, but that was also the beginning of the IRRB. And the reason that the IRRB was started in 1941 is because the red ore, which was the ore that was 70% iron, was being depleted. And it was depleted as a result of the 411 million tons of ore that were mined over the next 4 years for the war effort. We talked about the permanent school funds and the permanent university fund. And the University of Minnesota, E.W. Davis, actually developed the taconite process. It took them about 30 years of experimentation before the taconite process was perfected. And we've been using low-grade ore to turn into high-grade ore in order to use in steel mills now since the 50s. And so now we're coming to the next generation of mining, and it's the type of minerals that need to be mined for our new age economy. And I like to tell people all the time, if you think the 61 minerals that are in this little baby right here magically fall out of the sky and show up in China's factory to make an iPhone, well, they all have to be mined. And if you don't mine it, log it, drill it, or farm it, it probably doesn't exist. And so we want to continue to do what we're doing. We want to continue to contribute to the economy. We want to continue to contribute to the University of Minnesota. We want to continue to contribute to the Permanent School Fund. And we want to make mining the safest and the best in the world. And we believe we already have, and we believe we continue to do it. So I get off my soapbox now, but I've been living it all my life. So it's a very important part of who we are and where we are from.
I can completely agree and echo those sentiments, Senator Tomassoni, and I appreciate, like you said, you've lived this your whole life, and I appreciate the knowledge you've shared with me over the last 4 years, getting to know these issues better, and that of Frank and Kelsey and the DNR folks as well. So,
well, my dad was he worked for Hannah Mining Company, and back in the late 50s and early 60s, I used to give the employees a truck to come to take home. And so he would drive home his pickup truck and he'd park it in the backyard. And part of our growing up was there would be red ore in the driveway when the truck took off, and then it would wash down the streets. And that was pretty normal for us to see that kind of stuff, but I guess it was our red gold. And so, you know, we've come a long way since that time, and you don't see the red ore going down the streets anymore. But at the same time, it's who we are and where we're from. And I should add, immigration was a huge part of who we are and who we become, because the Iron Range was actually settled by 43 different nationalities, and they came from all over the world. And so we were a melting pot of human beings that turned into one.
Very much. And the Iron Range is a very unique place that I certainly love, and I know you do as well. So the main goal of this hearing was to give that kind of mining overview. Where are we at now? And I'm very grateful to Mr. Vandalen from the School Trust, and Mr. Henderson from the DNR, and Kelsey Johnson from Iron Mining Association, and Frank from Mining Minnesota. Thank you for being part of our first committee hearing. We appreciate it. I know you guys will all be engaged in conversations as we go forward, and I know all of you are here to help us make good policy decisions so that we can all do the right thing for Minnesota. So thanks for a good first hearing. I appreciate it. Stay tuned for when our next hearing will be. I'm possibly next Tuesday. So stay tuned, and thank you very much. And that'll conclude the first meeting of the Mining and Policy Forestry Committee. Have a good afternoon.